Hello, my name is Antoine Taylor, and I'm the CEO and founder of The Cause International. I grew up in Pacoima, California with my mother, Latia Taylor. Ever since I can remember, I was always around family. I think family was the biggest thing for me growing up. All my cousins, we were all at my grandparents' house, always trying to figure out different ways how I can beat my cousins in Uno or Sorry or Monopoly. And something that I figured out at a young age is that family is going to be there forever. And I think that's why I'm the person I am today, because of just that family unit. Also, something that I did on my spare time as well was hustling, which equates to being an entrepreneur. And essentially, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just trying to figure out different ways so I can have money in my pocket to buy ice cream. And what I did was mow my neighbor's lawns, or take the groceries up for my neighbor whose grandma would come in late at night and she needed help up the stairs. And not only was I was an entrepreneur during that time, but also what I loved doing was playing sports. Every season I was in something. You know, I was always in football or basketball or track or baseball. So I always had something to do year round. And just being in sports allowed me to be competitive and allowed me to have that dog sense where I can accomplish anything in life if I put my mind to it. So going into high school, there's a lot of options on the table. Football is really big in Southern California, and I always had the opportunity to go to Alamany, Harvard-Westlake, Chaminade, but I ended up going to a school in Sherman Oaks called Notre Dame High School. And literally, that was the step in just creating Antoine. I was able to meet lifelong friends. I was able to do things I never thought I could do before. Connect and network with individuals who own apps now, or who are star actors and actresses. Phenomenal baseball players, NFL players. It was just a great melting pot where people from different parts of Southern California come together and just connect with one another. Now, something that I did love about Notre Dame was just the community, but everything has their ups and has their downs. So after going into Notre Dame my first year playing freshman football, it just lit a spark within me. I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with chasing the dream. I fell in love with waking up at 6 a.m. to go work out to try to get that Division I scholarship. Everything on my mind was just school, football, and school and football again. So just having that sense and having that competitive nature at Notre Dame where everyone was trying to gun for a Division I scholarship, it made you just create that hunger to be someone. And going into my junior year, things started getting a little rocky. You know, I didn't have any offers yet. I wasn't getting the opportunity that I was supposed to have at Notre Dame, and I just wasn't able to show my talent. And then also financial situations started occurring. So, which probably was the hardest decision I've ever had to make at that time in my life, was I had to figure out what school to go to next. You know, and I ended up going to North Hollywood High School. And that step changed my life. You know, going from a private school to a public school was completely different. Transferring to North Hollywood High School, I think, was probably the biggest step for me, because I literally knew no one. And I think that was the scariest thing about it, because when you're going from that private school to public school experience, it's completely different, you know? And also Notre Dame was right by my house. I had to catch 2 buses to go to North Hollywood, and it was a struggle. But I think what allowed me to get through that struggle was I had to go somewhere. I had to go Division I, or I had to get a scholarship so my mom didn't have to pay for college. I was on a mission to make a difference. I was on a mission to make something of my life. And I was tired of being counted out. You know, I was tired of people walking over my name and thinking they were better than me. And it was time for me to step up and make a difference, not only in my life, but for my family's life. And I think that's when I tapped into another part of Antoine I never knew was there before. And when going into my senior year, I was a dog. I wanted everything. I wanted to eat on my plate, and I wanted yours as well. You know, there was no stopping me. I was able to get 2 offers from Azusa Pacific and Humble. And I was still trying to wait out for that D1. I had Youngstown State come to my house, offered me a preferred walk-on. I had San Jose State continue to call me, still offered me a preferred walk-on. Nobody wants to take an opportunity on me and take a chance on me. And I think that made me even hungry even more. After the first snap, everyone started coming up to me. They're like, oh my God, are you Antoine, the kid from transferred? The next day I got put into the newspaper. North Hollywood was gonna have a big season from transfer Antoine Taylor. And I think just seeing that and seeing people that actually believed in me for the first time was something that made a difference in me. And it also made me want to achieve more. So then going into that first game, I remember like it was yesterday. My palms were sweaty. I had a broken thumb. But no one was going to deny me what God had in store for me. No one. So I get the first snap and I take it to the crib. And not only did I score that touchdown, I scored 3 more. My first game as a North Hollywood Husky, I scored 4 touchdowns. And I knew from then on that year was mine. And I was able to have over 1,000 rushing yards. I had 28 touchdowns. I got offered by Azusa Pacific and Humboldt State. But then going into that second to last game, it was really weird because there's this scout that was recruiting the game. I peeped him earlier, but I was already focused on the game, so I didn't think too much of into it. But then after the game, he came and talked to me, and he said, "Hey, would you be interested in being recruited by St. John's University?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, like what division are you guys?" And he said, "We're Division 3." And I said, "Oh no, I'm good. I don't want to go D3. I'm trying to go D1. You know, I already had D2 offers." And then Coach Dumonso and Mr. Byrne said, "If you apply to my school, I'll fly you out for free to come check out the campus." And I was like, dang, okay. I get to miss school and I've never been to Minnesota before. I'm going. And I think that trip out there changed my life. And when I got there, it was -15. So off top, I was like, I called moms. I said, "Moms, I can't go here. It's too cold." And they want me to play football here? They're tripping. And it was so crazy because like St. John's was not even in the city. It wasn't even in Minneapolis. It was literally 2 hours away. It felt like some Get Out type stuff. Like, it was just weird. It was different. You know, coming from a city like LA to Collegeville, Minnesota, you know, it just changes your mindset of like how things are looked. There's no Ralph's, there's no Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, there's no In-N-Out. You know, we got some Corbin's or we got some local mom and pop shops. And I think before even stepping on campus, I had a negative connotation on St. John's. But then when I took that first step there, it felt like home. It felt like home because they didn't just care about Antoine, the football player. They cared about who I was as an individual. And that right there was something that I never had before. You know? I think somebody who believed in me, whether I play football or not, was someone that I really wanted in my corner. So 3 days before signing day, I decommitted from Azusa Pacific and I ended up going to St. John's. So freshman year, first off, leaving the day I left California, going to St. John's in Minnesota for fall camp for football. I was speechless because I literally started bawling. Because I remember I was leaving my mom, I was leaving my grandpa, my grandma, and I was just leaving everyone that I knew and embarking on this journey that I was going by myself. But I knew I had to do this. I knew I had to make a difference in my mom's life and make a difference in my family's life. And I think just having that courage to do so was something that allowed me to win later on in life. Because when you're uncomfortable, that's when you expand yourself. That's when you get to that next level. And going to St. John's got me there. Freshman year, fall camp, I come in, I'm balling, I'm doing my thing. there's first and second team and scout team, and usually all freshmen on the scout team. Instantly, I was in the second group, so I didn't even have to play scout team when I was at St. John's, and that's an accomplishment within itself. There's 200 kids in the program, and the fact that they, gave this 5'6" kid from California the opportunity to play right away, and just being up there with the upperclassmen spoke a lot. But I played running back in high school. I had to go play corner my freshman year. Did not like that at all, and I was shaping into like, dang, are they really about their word? They got me all the way out here, and I'm not playing. And it got to a point where I had to humble myself and be like, hey, you're in a new system, you gotta understand it first, So I ended up not even starting. I only played special teams, and that right there, in the beginning I was mad, but then I realized I have to be grateful, because a lot of my freshman teammates are not playing at all. And I think that year of the freshman year, just going through that, not being the man, because when you were the man from when you're 6 years old to high school, and then the 2 years at Notre Dame and you don't make any noise, and then you go to North Hollywood and then you're breaking records, you're getting offers, and then you're going back to not being the man, it gets at your mental. And I feel like I was letting my family down, And also that was when I realized I'm more than football. There's something else that's inside of me. Did I know it yet? No, but I also realized that that's okay. That's how life's supposed to be. You're gonna have, my friend told me, you're gonna have peaks and you're gonna have lows. You gotta go through those valleys to get to that destination. And I feel like that was one of my lows. But instead of quitting, I figured out a way to get through it and make it happen. So after my freshman year, going through that, another obstacle came. Finances. And when you're away from school, you don't want to ask your mom for money. You don't want to call your grandparents or just anyone, your friends, and ask them for money. I'm the type of person, I don't believe in handouts. You got to go get it yourself. And that's what I had to do. But also when you're a football player and you're natural science pre-med, and you weren't really a good high school student, and all you know is football, and putting yourself in that situation to grind like that, anybody who's pre-med knows the grind. And I was not successful in the beginning. And I had to be in tutor sessions. I had to be in office hours. I had to be in the library to 12 o'clock. I had to go back to my dorm and study again for another hour. I was going to bed at 3, waking up at 7 to go work out, and doing it all over again. And then the finances part hit me too. Because on campus I was good, but let's say if I wanted to have fun with my friends outside of campus, I had no money. So what was I supposed to do? And all the money that I also worked as well on campus, and all the money that I got from work went straight to tuition. So you got yourself in a bind, but instead of making excuses, I had to figure out a solution. And that's when I started washing people's clothes for money. Washing people's drawers for money. When I was embarrassed, going door to door, asking people if they needed their clothes washed, man, it was a gut check. It humbled myself again. And there was nothing else for me to do. I had no other option that I could think of. And literally a whole year of me folding people's clothes, washing people's clothes, taking it up to the dorm to get money. I remember it was like yesterday, man. Wash for 10, wash and fold for 15, But it's crazy because those lows, those late nights, those days where I was folding clothes made me who I was today, And it's okay. It's okay for me to go through that situation, because that made Antoine Taylor. So I get to a point where I'm tired of washing people's clothes, tired of folding people's drawers, and then I started realizing, what can I do on campus where I can make money still, and what can I sell, essentially? Because I'm already booked with pre-med classes and football workouts. So I started thinking, maybe I could sell shirts. But then I was like, they're already in the bookstore. And then I was like, what about hoodies? And I was like, I feel like everyone does hoodies. So I started thinking more and more. I said, what about socks? Because it's inexpensive. And also, who does not like school socks to support? And our school is very school spirited. So I thought that was a great market to tap into. So I started Googling how to customize socks, how to make socks. And I was able to stumble on a site that I think jump-started my whole career. And literally I tell Danny to this day from Silky Socks that because of you, the call started with everything. And the funny thing is I called him and I said, how much is it for a sample? He told me 35. And I was like, what the heck? That's the same amount as like Converse or something. And then I was like, you know what? You gotta take a leap of faith. So I bought some socks that cost $35, which I was very mad at, Danny. I want you to know that. And I started selling it. And I was able to sell 512 pairs of socks in a week. And I think right there, it changed my life. I mean, I was used to seeing hundreds. Now I'm seeing thousands.